On our last program, we introduced the concept of Mystery Babylon, and we asked the questions, is she Europe? Is she Rome? Is she New York? Is she the United States? What about the global village? Gary Stearman is here to discuss with me the mystery of this woman.
And we're in Revelation 17, if you want to open your Bible. And verse 3 describes her as riding a scarlet-colored beast, and its names are that beast is full of blasphemies and having 7 heads and 10 horns. And she is something of a controlling spirit. J.R., we discussed this as we attempted on our last program to identify her nature. Who is she? Where does she reside? What does she do? She appears to be of a controlling nature, and in fact, she's depicted as riding the beast that has the 7 heads and 10 horns. Well, when you ride something, you control it.
Yes, but she is not a wife. She is a harlot. She is not married. She has no contract with the kings of the earth. Instead, she commits immorality, or what the Old Testament called idolatry. This is spiritual immorality we're talking about here. And her name is Mystery Babylon. Now, in the King James Version, we have capitalized Mystery Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. But in the Greek text of the Textus Receptus, we have only 2 Greek words that are capitalized, and only the first letter of those words are capitalized: mystery, mysterion, and Babylon, which says to me that the correct name on the forehead of this woman is Mystery Babylon. Now, we know what Babylon's all about, but let's talk about the mystery for a moment, because mystery takes us back to Nimrod and the mystery religion. In fact, that religion was a system of initiations.
As a matter of fact, the Apostle Paul, J.R., refers to the whole subject, if you want to get right down to basics, the whole subject of the mystery is referred to as the mystery of iniquity in 2 Thessalonians chapter 2. And Paul says that mystery has been working for a long, long time. I would submit that it began with the fall of Satan, iniquity being lawlessness. Satan was lawless. But then it came to earth, and it began to reside in human governments. And really the first place we see it clearly is in the person of Nimrod.
Nimrod, the king of Babylon, ancient Babylonia. He's the man who built the original Tower of Babel. And he considered himself to be the Messiah, and his wife Semiramis to be Virgo, the embodiment of Virgo. And so he took all of those 12 constellations, which was God's original Bible written in the stars, that tells about a virgin conceiving and bearing a son, the Son of God, whose enemy is the serpent. And it goes through all the constellations till we get to Leo, the lion of the tribe of Judah, jumping on Hydra, the many-headed serpent, Satan, or the embodiment of Satan, and destroying him while vials of wrath are poured out upon him, and the birds eat his flesh. That's all in the 12th constellation of the zodiac. But this gospel in the stars was perverted by Nimrod, and he established what the Old Testament calls idolatry. And so, Gary, let's look at this gate of God for a moment, this original Tower of Babel.
Well, Nimrod and his people, and he had many followers, but he was the leader. Nimrod was called a mighty hunter before the Lord. Now, if you go back and look at that phrase, J.R., it really doesn't mean before, it means in the face of. And what it means is Nimrod stood in opposition to the Lord. He was a mighty hunter, and he established a false priesthood. And J.R., that priesthood is most interesting. It's typified by the leopard skin. Nimrod's name refers, in fact, to the leopard.
Yes, to the rebellious leopard. Fascinating, isn't it?
It is fascinating.
And so the leopard skin became the motif of Nimrod's power and symbol of his authority as the king over all mankind. In fact, in the years after Nimrod, there are pictographs on walls of tombs in Egypt. One in particular showing King Ai, the man who followed King Tut, performing a ritual on the corpse of King Tutankhamun. And King Ai is wearing a leopard skin, typical of Nimrod's dynasty, showing that the pharaohs of Egypt were descendants of Nimrod.
Now, J.R., here's an astonishing truth, and that is, if you look at Revelation 13, the beast rises out of the sea. This is that last beast, and it's the beast upon which the woman rides. And J.R., is it a coincidence that that beast looks like a leopard?
No coincidence at all. It's the tie back to the original Nimrod and the original Babylon. Now, we recall that Daniel said to Nebuchadnezzar, "Thou art that head of gold." And so a lot of theologians want to go back only to Daniel's day and not all the way back to Nimrod. But I think it's obvious that this mystery religion, that was the religion of Nebuchadnezzar's Babylon, actually has its roots in Nimrod and the leopard.
Absolutely. Now, we're looking at what the Bible refers to, or what Paul labeled the mystery of iniquity. Mystery Babylon, mother of harlots and abominations of the earth, Revelation 17:5. It's fascinating, J.R., that in the New Testament, the word mystery occurs 22 times, and we have suggested one for each letter of the Hebrew alphabet. The mystery Babylon name in Revelation 17:5 would be attached to the Hebrew letter Shin, which is the letter of divine power and provision. El Shaddai, for example. But it has an inversion, and the inverted Shin refers to Sheker, the liar, or the corrupted one. And J.R., it's a perfect symbol, I think, for Mystery Babylon.
Absolutely perfect. That Mystery Babylon should be depicted by the Shin. And only a few verses later, he says, "I'm going to tell you the mystery." That's in verse 7. And that's the final, the 22nd. And of course, that letter, the Tav, stands for truth. So here the angel says, "I'm going to tell you the truth about this liar."
And we find the absolute truth in her destruction.
Two opposites there, lying and telling the truth.
Yeah.
And so the first one, Mystery Babylon in verse 5, is the liar, and the angel says, "I'm going to tell you the mystery of the woman." That's the truth. And so her name is Mystery. Let's look at the woman. There are two women in the book of Revelation. Let's look at both of them for a moment. One is a virgin, the other is a harlot. Oh, wow. One is the mother of the Savior, the other is the mother of the Antichrist. One is the mother of the faithful, the other is the mother of the faithless.
Yes.
One is the mother of all that is good and wonderful and truthful, and the other, the harlot, is the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. One is a blessing to the earth, the other is abomination to the earth. So the differences between these two women are just absolutely miraculous. Now, one will live in the holy city, New Jerusalem, which shall exist forever and ever, and the other is associated with Babylon, the city headed for eternal destruction.
And Joseph Seiss, back at the end of the 19th century, has suggested that these two women depicted, on the one hand, all the faithless, on the other hand, all the faithful. And J.R., I like that image. It's a great image.
Yeah. Now let's talk about this beast upon which this woman rides, because there's a mystery here. He is scarlet colored. That ties him in with the dragon that is cast out of heaven, Satan himself. Well, you know, in Europa, riding the bull, the motifs of the New Europe, according to ancient mythology, European mythology, this white bull is none other than Zeus, who took the form of a white bull. But Gary, originally the form of Zeus is a serpent.
Absolutely.
So
And
this is the same dragon, the red dragon cast out of heaven, basically.
basically, it's a continuation of the theme of the dragon, referred to as, quote, that old dragon. So he's a lot more than just an old dragon. He appears in many forms.
Even though he has this view of a leopard here with the feet of a bear and the mouth of a lion, he is associated through the color red to his papa, or his originator, Zeus himself, who in the letter to Pergamos is referred to as Satan. And then, of course, we have Apollo. In fact, let me read to you from the Zondervan Pictorial Encyclopedia of the Bible. In fact, we'll do that when we come back in just a moment. Don't go away. We'll be right back. In Revelation 17, the woman rides a beast. And according to European mythology, Europa is the woman and Zeus is the beast who has transformed himself into a white bull. Originally, Zeus was a serpent to whom offerings of honey were made. But when he took Ganymede, he transformed himself into an eagle. When he took Europa, kidnapped Europa, he transformed himself into this white bull. So we need to look at Zeus for a few moments. According to Greek mythology, Zeus was the son of Kronos and Rhea. And of course, Kronos was the son of the original chaos. Then came Gaia, Earth, who married Uranus, and they produced the Titan gods, including Kronos and his wife, sister Rhea. Well, Zeus seduced Leto, his niece, and from their union came Apollo. So Apollo is the son of Zeus. Apollo had a twin sister, Diana, also called Artemis. So Apollo, Gary, is the male counterpart to the female Diana. The two of them together represent the religion of Greece. They were the major gods of the Greeks.
Now, in the Old Testament, Apollo is referred to by the Hebrew word Abaddon, which is translated by the Septuagint translators into the Greek Apoleia, or Apoleus. And so basically he appears in both the Old Testament and the New Testament. He's called Apollyon in the New Testament. He's called Abaddon in the Old Testament. And J.R., what makes this fascinating is his connection with the Antichrist, because in 2 Thessalonians 2:3, the man of sin, the Antichrist, is referred to as the son of perdition. The word perdition is Apoleus, which is the word for Apollo, the very Greek word for Apollo.
That's amazing, isn't it?
Yes.
Now, called Zeus, the father of Apollo, was called Satan in the letter to Pergamos. And I have the Testament of Dan here, the Testament of the 12 Patriarchs, in a book called The Lost Books of the Bible. And I want to read what the dying Dan said to his children on his deathbed. He said, quote, "For I have read in the book of Enoch, the righteous, that your prince is Satan." So this connects the Danites with Satan or Zeus. And remember, please, the Danites are connected to the honey. Remember the riddle of Samson? The bees made honey in the carcass of a lion. And this has been a mystery religion down through the centuries. And so Zeus, the serpent, was offered honey. This was one of the main offerings to Zeus. And so that is the connection with the Danite tribes. And then, Gary, I have here a book called the Zondervan Illustrated Bible Backgrounds Commentary. And this says, Abaddon is usually translated by the Greek Apoleia, with Apollyon being its personal form. Apollyon has also been understood to be the god Apollo in the role of destroyer. Apollyon may also be another clue to identify Nero as the church's persecutor, because Nero's patron deity was Apollo. It says this identification is likely given John's only other use of Apollyon in chapter 17, verse 8, and again in verse 11. This is the chapter we're looking at today. When the beast, the 8th emperor, Nero Redivivus, is ready to go to his destruction, Nero's voice and appearance were compared to those of Apollo, and there are 3 ancient Roman historical sources where the people hailed Nero as, quote, our Apollo. Nero also had a coin struck depicting himself in the guise of Apollo playing a lyre or a harp, while other coins from his reign show him with a hairstyle identical to Apollo's. So Nero is connected with Apollo here.
And J.R., here's an interesting historical footnote. Many, many centuries later, along came another would-be world ruler from France, and his name is Napoleon Bonaparte. Napoleon is simply the English way of pronouncing the French Néo-Apoléon, which means the new Apollo. He dubbed himself the new Apollo. And by the way, if you remember, his coronation robe was embroidered with golden bees.
Yes, 300 of them.
300 golden bees, and those were the symbol of Diana, or of the sister, Artemis.
Absolutely. You know, the statues of Diana have these 9 bees engraved on the statue. Do you remember when Paul was in Ephesus and the silversmiths were upset because he was cutting into their business of selling all these little statues of Diana with 9 bees on them, by the way. And so this is very important that we understand Mystery Babylon here is connected to Diana, connected to Apollo, and to Zeus.
And if your head is swimming by now, that's okay, because this is a lot of information, but here's the simple way to look at it. Apollo and Artemis, the male and female counterparts of the god Zeus. That is, as Zeus being Satan, his offspring in the world would be then Apollo and Artemis, or Diana. They are the spirit that appears to us in the Bible as Mystery Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots. She is a religious system that threads her way through the times of the Gentiles. She's the power behind all the thrones.
Okay, so if we have Zeus, who is Satan, and we have Apollo, who is the Antichrist,
Yes.
and we have Diana, who is his twin sister,
Yes.
just the other side of the coin, I guess you could say. And we have this harlot then, this goddess of fertility that brings forth this Antichrist. And of course, whether it be a niece, or whether it be Leto the niece, or the sister, such as Kronos' sister, it's possible that Apollo then and Diana represent the Mystery Babylon and Zeus. This is the ancient religion. We're not talking apostate Christianity here. We're talking Mystery Babylon, the ancient Babylonian religion.
And it's not confined to one city on earth. It subsumes all of the capitals of commerce, all of the capitals of money, power, all over the world. And J.R., this woman has a golden cup in her hand. She's holding it up. It's full of abomination. And, you know, not only are there 2 women, the evil harlot and the pure virgin, but, you know, there are 2 cups. There's a cup taken by Christ. He said, prayed to his Father and said, Father, if it be thy will, let this cup pass from me. Nevertheless, thy will be done. And then there's the cup of evil held by this woman. I think you can make a contrast between these 2 cups.
Absolutely. And so all these metaphors are important that we understand them. Let me read to you what the Compton's Encyclopedia says about Apollo. Quote, Apollo was one of the 12 great gods of Greece. He was a twin brother of Diana and regarded as the god of light and prophecy. The priestess of the oracle at Delphi was his servant. She made known the future to all who consulted her. Later, he became considered especially as the sun god. Now, in the United Nations building in New York City, just inside the front doors in the big lobby there at the front of it, is a huge statue of Zeus. He is the God of the United Nations. Bear in mind, the letter to Pergamos in Revelation chapter 2 calls him Satan. And he is originally, though depicted there as a man, he is originally the serpent to whom offerings of honey were made. Now, let's go back to the name of Lucifer in Isaiah chapter 14 and verse 12. How thou art fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning. Did you know the name Lucifer is not there in the original Hebrew? Lucifer is a Latin Vulgate translation. The original Hebrew letters for the name of Satan, or the devil, is He, Yot, Lamet, Lamet. What would that be to you in English? He, an H, Yot, Lamet, Lamet. That's 2 L's, 4 letters, H, E, L, L. That is Isaiah's name of the devil.
And actually, in the Hebrew, J.R., that would be pronounced Halel, which has to do with the bearer of the light. But what happened was that he perverted the light and it became darkness, and he turned illumination into the darkness of Hades.
Yes. We'll be back in just a moment.
I'm holding here my personal copy of The Exodus Case by Dr. Leonard Moeller. This is a valued book. I treasure it, along with some of the most exciting books I've ever read, and it's right up there at the top. Dr. Moeller is a lecturer. He's a medical doctor at the Karolinska Institute of Stockholm, Sweden. Very prestigious position. More than that, he's a Bible-believing Christian who went on an archaeological expedition, actually a series of them, to document the events of the Exodus. Who was the Pharaoh of the Exodus? What was the track across the desert to the Red Sea crossing? Where did they cross? And after they got there, where was the land of Midian, the mountain of God? What can be found there? Well, actually, you'll see pictures of rock carvings at the base of the mountain of God, an altar that was built by the children of Israel. So much evidence in pictures, 317 pages, almost 600 four-color pictures in this book. You call 1-800-883-1809 to get your copy, and JR, they'll love it, I'm sure.
Yes, they will. It's $34.95 for the book. But Dr. Moeller has also produced a companion video called The Exodus Revealed. And they put an underwater camera down at the bottom of the Red Sea and took pictures of the wreckage across the 8-mile crossing site. Dozens of chariot wheels, some still on the axles. It's an absolute must for you to see. It's $19.95, and it's available on VHS, but also on DVD for $24.95. The DVD has extra footage, including Cecil B. DeMille telling how he made and why he made the 10 Commandments. If you'll get the book for $34.95 and one of the videos, your choice of either the VHS or the DVD, we'll send you an extra bonus as well. Gary?
And that bonus is Prophecy in the News, 12 issues, an annual subscription, regularly valued at $29.95. Yours absolutely free when you order this very, very exciting offer that we have for you. Believe me, you're going to be showing your friends the Exodus Case. You'll be inviting them over to look at those videos, and they will be awe-stricken, I promise you. But most of all, we want you to have a copy of this book, The Exodus Case, in my opinion, a landmark production. Dr. Moeller has done something very special here. And by the way, he told us that he did this as much as anything for the skeptic, for the individual who maybe has a little trouble believing the narratives of the Bible. Here are the facts, carefully documented with hundreds of pictures. The Exodus Case. Just call the 800 number on your screen right now, 1-800-883-1809, and we will rush this book to your home.
Chapter 17 of Revelation has so much in it, we couldn't even get it all in 2 programs. Looks like we're going to have to work on another program here, Gary.
JR, we certainly will have to work on at least one more program, because now we're getting into the mystery of the woman and the famous dissertation on the mind that hath wisdom. Yeah. Oh, there's a lot there.
It takes a special mind to understand this stuff.
Yes, it does.
The mind that hath wisdom. And we hadn't even talked about the 10 horns yet, which we'll get to on our next program. Let me mention to you the book, in their own words, the personal testimonies of men and women of faith, 50 different testimonies of conversion experiences. And I'm in chapter 5. So get it today, will you? Order it from us. This is J.R. Church and Gary Striemann. Until next time, keep looking up.
Prophecy in the News is a viewer-supported ministry sponsored by our many friends across America and in your area. For your gift of $10, you can receive a special edition of our current program on audio tape, or for a gift of $20, we'll send you our programs on videotape. For either order, call the 800 number on your screen right now.